Hello, everyone, and welcome to 12 Days of Copilot, Day 1, Summaries Straight from Teams. My name is Tyler Allard. I'm a solution architect here on the cloud services team at Stoneridge. Been here for just over a year now, working with Copilot pretty frequently, and 10 years on top of that in the modern workspace. So the instance that I'm going to walk through with y'all today is an example that I hope everyone can relate to, where you're just coming back from a holiday, whether that be Thanksgiving or some other winter holiday, and you're trying to ramp back up as quickly as possible. I'm sure there's a bunch of notifications and emails and messages and meetings that you've missed, and let's see how Teams, with the help of Copilot, can get us back up to speed as soon as possible. So jumping into Copilot here, first thing I like to do when I come back is get a summary of Teams messages. I know emails are going to be things that are a little bit more formal, but usually when things are on fire, Teams is where the magic is happening. So let's ask Copilot here to summarize Teams chat messages for the last week. Now, there's a few handy things here. First, you'll see that rather than a whole litany, we got a pretty succinct description of what happened. It breaks things down by conversation item. And the thing that I find the most helpful is that Copilot will come with receipts. You can see that for each item, it has a reference. And if there is something here that we want to follow up on, for example, Costa, we congratulated Costa, oh, but what did Costa accomplish last week? So if we click on this link here, we can summon and we can see that he passed the AZ-140 Azure Virtual Desktop Security exam. Great. A little bit more context. And from there, we can go straight back and follow up on the rest of our items. Now, if we feel that we have a comprehensive understanding of messages from the last week, let's go straight into meetings and see what Copilot can give us just off the top of its head. This might take a little bit longer because I'm sure there were more meetings than chats, but as you'll see here, it does look slightly different, but the presentation is largely the same. The biggest difference you'll find here is the hot links that'll take us directly to any meeting event or any meeting chat, as well as hot links for the coordinator. So if we see that there is something that may have been missed in that chat, we can follow up directly with the coordinator and see what the next steps are. For example, click on this one, brings us right into the meeting notes. And if we needed, we can hit on the recap option and see what presentations were offered, the Copilot offerings in this example, and if transcripts were enabled, we would be able to see the transcripts. However, we can see in this instance that it was not. Now, Copilot, much like most of us, is pretty dependent on needing information to do its job. So, how can we ensure that Copilot has the tools that it needs for these summaries to be more helpful for us when we come back from time off? Well, to walk you through that, let's start scheduling a meeting for later today. Now, the easiest way to have transcription recording enabled is to hit this toggle right here for record and transcribe automatically. Once we enable that, as soon as the meeting is kicked off, regardless of who kicks it off, transcription and recording is automatically taking place. Now, there are some instances that we'll talk about in a little minute where we might want to be using Copilot in the meeting itself, but don't necessarily need that entire meeting or event being recorded. So if we go into more options, we go to recording and transcript, and we scroll down to the bottom here, we can see allow Copilot. If you choose to within your organization, we can have allow Copilot for just during the meeting instead of during and after. If it's for just during the meeting, you can call Copilot or tap them in during your meeting, ask them to perform some functions with the relevant context within that meeting, and then it won't be available afterwards. what kind of use cases would you apply that to? Well, let's say while we're trying to catch up with Copilot, we are perhaps late for some other meeting. So let's pull this one up and say that, oh, we're 5 minutes into this meeting now. We've just joined. Somebody's already talking. It's me. And we don't want to interrupt me by asking what I missed. So if we hit this Copilot button in the chat and ask Copilot to summarize the meeting so far, because we are recording and because transcription is enabled, it will be able to let us know what we've talked about to this point in the meeting. Give it a minute here to catch up. And you'll see when it starts generating the text, it'll be a very similar format to what we've seen before, where it breaks it down point by point and lets us know what we've missed. There we go. So again, key topics, and of course, as is always helpful, receipts. Links to the transcript for the key topics so you can tell exactly what was said at that time, and a brief summary of everything that was discussed so far. Now, this functionality, like I mentioned before, if you just enable Copilot for the meeting, this live summary of the meeting while it's taking place is available. It won't be available afterward. You do need to enable recording and transcription for that. But if you're just needing to catch up, if you're late to the meeting, like I just was, then this is something that's very helpful. Now, what about a meeting that happened while you were off that you have completely missed? Well, happen to have an example here of one of our weekly team meetings where transcription was enabled. If I go to the recap tab here in this meeting event, you should see some information that looks pretty familiar that's built into Microsoft Teams, but this tab here, the generated by AI or the AI summary one, is the new business that Copilot is helping us with. And you'll see it has automated meeting notes. It's done the summary for us already, broken down by category. And one handy thing is that if we find something here that we are interested in, we got recognition, we got anniversaries, all right, the DEIB committee, that sounds like something we might want to get interested in. How would we participate? All right, well, now we're learning how the committee has been formed. Oh, and there we go, application process. Didn't need to tell us everything about the application process at a high level, but once we've indicated that we have a little bit more interest, it breaks down more of the relevant information for us to see it. And again, all this information generated by AI, be sure to check for accuracy. If you want to do your due diligence and make sure the context is accurate, you do have the full transcript because you enabled recording of that meeting to just, validate, trust but verify. That's what Microsoft says, right? And then once you're caught up on the meeting notes, one other thing that is really handy here is you'll see that we have follow-up tasks. And there's one right there related to this DE and IB committee applications. So we can see that the email with the application details are going to be sent out from Jennifer. Perfect. I now know to look in my mailbox for a mail item from Jennifer, or perhaps Jennifer in the signature should be able to track that down a little bit easier. And one thing that you might notice about this, if you've used tasks in M365 or if you've used Planner, is that these follow a very Planner-friendly template. And with the changes that are coming to Planner and tasks and how all of those wonderful tools are going to be rolled up into one product shortly, this is something that will make your life a little bit easier if you're using that. You just copy and paste it